Hello YouTube, Vintage Stereo Restores and Repairs. I can't believe it. I'm in disbelief. There's actually sun shining in here. After it was 3 days of rain, 4 days of blowing snow, we have some sun coming out, although there's still a bit of snow coming down. In southwestern Ontario, we've been in this polar vortex picking up moisture from the Great Lakes, but you didn't come here for a weather channel. I mentioned on my last video about this tuner and replacing. This is actually what it looks like. So it originally had these in it. It originally had these axial caps. And although I had two axial caps, they're actually for another project that somebody else paid for. So these are two radial caps. So I did that little trick extending the power lead and running it up to there. And they're not going to go anywhere. You can glue them together if you want. This one's lifted because to get the audio board out, you have to desolder a couple things through that hole. This is the audio board. It's very similar to the phono preamp board on other Kenwoods. But I wanted to thank Paul for sending me this schematic. I mentioned in that video I could not find a schematic. And somebody that we've swapped stuff back and forth, but we live like, I don't know, 1,200 miles away from each other, sent me this. This is what's cool about doing stereo stuff in this era, is that you can scan stuff in and send it to somebody else on the other side of the world. And this actually helps solve a couple of things on these, but it also made me go, something doesn't add up here. This is one of those weird audio anomalies that comes up, and how to sort through it logically. So in this schematic here, it shows a center tap secondary, two diodes with snubber 0.02 diodes, sorry, 0.02 caps snubbing the diodes just for noise, and then a capacitor 1000 microfarad cap, and then a 150 ohm resistor, another 1000 microfarad cap, then another 150 ohm, and then the 220 microfarad, and something in the range of 14 to 16 volts as the result of those dropping resistors. I'm going, wait a second, that's not what I found. Here's what I found. I don't know if it can focus in on it. You might be seeing a blur. Here's the original first dropping resistor, clearly banded. I'm not losing my mind here. Brown, black, brown, which is 100 ohms. Okay? And I put my meter on it, lifted one end of it, put my meter on it. This is what I got. So about 135 ohms. And of course, as I heat it up, it changes, but that's kind of out of whack for a silver banded resistor. Okay, so I replace it with 100 ohm, and then the next one is 150 ohm. And I also, there are a couple open lugs here on these terminal strips, which are getting hard to get. I just bought some from a place for other projects, and they're up to $5 a piece now. Not that I'm cheap, but it all adds up. I was able to put this resistor up here rather than all of them right in this area here, which kind of made it a bit busy. These being a bit smaller, I was able to put the 100 ohm there. And I'm like, okay, now according to this schematic, that should be 150 ohm. Well, actually, that 100 ohm was closer to 150 than 100. So was it really 150 ohm but with the wrong markings on it? I don't know. Here's how you sort it out, because you're going to run into this. You're going to go, wait a minute, that's an original part, but it's not like the schematic. It's worked for 50 years with that part in it. And the key comes down to this, the voltages. So it showed voltages at this cap here. Okay, and then 14 to 16 here. So I thought, okay, I'll just measure the voltages. And with the 100 ohm resistor in place, the voltages were actually right on. So I actually get, at the drop of this resistor, and here I have 15.1 volts DC. And that runs most of the circuitry, including this board here. No C458s in this. So actually, I'm not even going to worry about that being 100 here and 150 here. The voltages are right. The voltages where it drops, like it drops on, where is it here? Yeah, it's right off this rectifier. It's just a little over 23, and it shows 23.5 volts here. So that's how you solve things like that if you have a schematic. Once again, thanks for sending that to me, because I could not find one. There's two KT1000s. There's this one from 68 to about 73, couple versions of it. And then there's the KT1000 that was 1 year, 81 to 82. And I've only ever seen one of those. It's a 5-gain tuner with a very hot front end. And actually, to be honest, this one works really good for what it is anyway. You can actually see with better light coming in today. Actually, I'm not going to replace any transistors. I'm just going to do the electrolytic caps, clean the board up a bit, do a quickie alignment on it, and it's going to go to a new owner. Anyway, thanks for watching and listening. Hope your weather's good today too.